Coming off one of the best sports weekends in a really long time. Week 5 had a lot of high hopes for us, and we only wonder what Week 6 can do for us. Davante Adams set career highs. Tom Brady had a career day. Russell Wilson went down with injuries. Other people went down with injuries. Lamar Jackson is showing us that he is the player the doubters really thought that he couldn't be, doing it through the air and doing it on the ground. So there is so much to talk about this week, and we have a great show for you guys today. We're going to get into some Fab Five. We're going to go over the top 5 reviews. We're going to talk about the backup running backs. We're going to talk about some of the matchups this week because we got the bye week starting, so it's definitely taking a toll on some of us. Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast, everybody. We have a little intro for you there, but it is Saturday, October 16th, the day before Week 6. We've been digesting this whole weekend, as we obviously know Week 6 has started with the great Thursday night game. But enough of that, guys. Keenan, Eric, how you doing today, fellas?
I'm doing great. I'm not even going to pass this to Keenan. I'm going to just share my experience before we started recording here. I checked out the local card show, and I traded some cards.
Card, right?
Card, yeah, that's a card. Card.
I sounded like
card, sports cards, trade card, trading cards.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Bringing the car. But no, I traded for a nice Josh Allen card. I'm pretty excited about it. Traded 5 cards for one.
What 5 did you trade?
It was CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Jordan Love. They were RPAs, and then just a Trae Young base card. And then a Jordan Love Silver Chronicles. But I got the Josh Allen, it's a Panini Prism. It's the green Prism. Josh Allen, it's his rookie card. So I'm excited about it. That was my plan to go in there and just trade up for a nice one. And
are they open today too?
Yeah, they're open. Yeah, 11 to 7 today, 11 to 7 tomorrow. I might go back. I saw a nice Mike Evans card I want to get. I got to get my boy.
You got into that hobby. I think more than your brother did. I feel like you're 100% in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in it too, but like it's so hard to even like get your hands on a box of cards nowadays, and then you look at eBay, like it's so hard to spend $20 on a single card. You know what I mean? So enjoy while you don't have kids, Eric.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it now. Getting them built up.
Yeah, building up that credit card debt, gambling away all your money. You're doing it right before the kids, man.
Yeah, hope your wife isn't listening.
Get all those vices out. Keenan, what's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. Just it's almost Halloween, and my kids are running around trick or treat tree.
Well, Keegan's running away from us. Well, he was going to talk about some Halloween story, I think. We do have Halloween right around the corner, though, 15 days. I forgot about that. My wife kept asking me for the last couple of weeks what we're going to do. I've got 2 kids. Keenan's got 3. I'm sure we'll hear about that.
Are you coming to the game?
Oh, yeah. I got tickets for the Bills game on Halloween. The kids are not going, but or what? But that's going to be a lot of fun. We got a party at our family's house the night before, but we're going as Toy Story. And I'm only telling you this because even though it's supposed to be a surprise, you can't tell anybody, only because you're on the show. But we're going as Toy Story. So my son is going to be Rex. My daughter is little Alien. I'm going to be Woody. And my wife is going to be Jessie. So it's going to be a lot of fun. What are you guys doing for Halloween? Even though I'm sure we're talking about it next week.
Yeah. Still debating on a few things. Obviously, we're procrastinators. So, whoa.
There's 2 Keenans.
There we go.
What's up?
What's going on?
Not sure what happened.
Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube if you're not, guys, because then you can see we had 2 Keenans for a second as we had a little bit of an issue. But I interrupted Eric there.
2 Keenans is too many. Keenan, right? No,
I
don't even remember. Let's dive into football.
No,
well, Keenan's got his story.
Yeah,
before he really left us.
Halloween's coming up, and we're not really decorating. We took the kids like pumpkin picking or whatever. But I saw a story. Myles Garrett loves to decorate his house. In his front yard, you know what he has? Tombstones of every quarterback that he sacked with their names on them.
That's pretty cool, man.
And Kyler Murray's is the shorter one because he's the smallest. And every single quarterback in there. So it had me thinking, I wonder how big the tombstone is for Mason Rudolph in his backyard, and Myles Garrett's backyard. You know how they don't like each other, so I wonder how big his tombstone is. But Myles Garrett said he was just having fun trolling, and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it's unique and something different.
What if you had a tombstone, Keenan, for every diaper you had to change?
I need some acres. I was gonna say, I should have a tombstone. I should have a tombstone for every time I beat someone in fantasy football.
Oh, you don't need a lot of room you don't need a lot of property for that, Keenan. Come on.
Oh, come on now.
Come on, Keenan.
Yeah, I only need two. You two. That's it.
Well, that's cool to hear. We went over my Halloween costume with the family because I thought that was the route you might have been going.
What is it?
So we're doing Toy Story.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'm Woody, she's Jessie, and then Weston's going to be Rex, and Lena will be Little Alien.
Oh, that's awesome. So
I've got a little 2-year-old and 1-year-old, and Keenan walks around here with his triplets. 3. Almost, they're turning 3 in like next month.
A couple days or a couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and then because my son will be 3 in January. Yeah, that's very crazy.
The way I see it, only 15 more years, so I'm free.
Freedom. All right. So the only things I really want to recap for week 5 before we get into the injuries, some news and notes, is there's some fun stats I do want to go over. And if you have any comments on it, please feel free. If not, whatever. Okay. So Ja'Marr Chase, I love Ja'Marr Chase, but he's got 4 receptions of 30 plus yards in his first 5 games. Only Marvin Harrison in 2002 was the only other rookie that's done that.
Well, not every rookie gets their college quarterback.
That's very true. And not every rookie gets Peyton Manning. So Marvin Harrison is kind of fun. But I thought that was pretty fun. He doesn't have many catches. He's obviously got a lot of touchdowns. Great touchdown percentage rate. A lot like A.J. Brown does. Hopefully A.J. Brown can bounce back. So the Lions lost another game on a last-second field goal last week. And the Lions are actually the first team in NFL history to lose on 2 50-plus yard field goals as the time expired in one season. So they've lost 2 games already, and it's only week 5 by 2 50-plus yard field goals as time expired. And no team's ever done that before in a whole season. It took them 5 games. So the Lions are historic.
I feel for him. I felt bad for their coach when I saw him in tears at the press conference. I feel for him. And that took some guts to go for 2 there, too.
It did. I mean, there was a couple of teams that went for 2 this week that took some guts. We saw it on Thursday night as well with the Eagles. But, nobody's going to – it takes a lot for a grown man to cry, they say. And no one's going to laugh at Dan Campbell shedding some tears, man. He will break your kneecaps. But he is literally. He's got a lot. So he's a very emotional guy. I wonder what that's going to bring for them this week as they play Cincinnati at home. We'll talk a little more about that later.
They need a quarterback.
They need to get someone in there. Last week, we know kickers had a bunch of issues. So if you're on the get kickers out of your fantasy leagues, hashtag Team Me over here, I'm all about that. 13 point afters missed last week, which was an NFL record. And again, after week 5, Lamar Jackson, guys, this is an insane stat. Actually, I'm going to get to this one last. Mac Jones, he's got the highest rookie completion percentage at 71.1 in the first 5 starts since 1950 with a minimum of 150 attempts. So he's basically been the best rookie on a completion percentage in the first 5 games ever. So that was super interesting to me. But this stat I want to talk about before we really get into the notes here, Lamar Jackson, as I mentioned, is having an amazing season. He has accounted for 1,860 total yards rushing and passing by himself. That ranks 15th in the NFL in total yards if he was a team by himself. If he was just the Lamar Jacksons. 15th in the NFL. He averages 372 yards per game, which is 22 more than the next quarterback. And it's Tom Brady.
He's my number 1 MVP candidate right now.
Wow.
He's balling.
Love hearing that out of your mouth.
He's balling.
That is some tasteful juice for you to have there, Keenan.
Listen, that Monday night.
For those of you that don't know, Keenan is one of those Lamar Jackson haters that is slowly becoming a truther.
No,
you don't have to say it to me, man. It's on tape. People were everywhere last year.
I'm not a hater. I just didn't believe it. So call it whatever you want. But listen. I just hate how he has those moments. I think I texted you guys. I was like, what is he doing in this first half? And then the second half, he blows everything up. He played great. He needs to stop fumbling. He needs to stop fumbling in the inside the 1 yard line. He has 3 fumbles inside the 1 yard line, and I think he leads the NFL in the last 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, but I said though he's only got that one pick. He's behind Josh Allen for second in this. So you're right though. He's got to work on keeping that ball more secure, especially with the way he lost it.
Also, that wasn't a lateral. That wasn't a lateral.
Yeah, I don't get. I'll be honest. That helped me in some of my bets, so I'm gonna be all right with that.
Yeah, unbelievable. This damn league.
Like I said, those refs should have been in the Music City Miracle. They should have been there. All right, so we had a lot of injuries going on, guys. It seems like almost half the league's running backs are down, but CMC is going to miss his 3rd straight week. So start your Chuba Hubbards, no doubt. He's had over almost 30 touches last week, but CMC's missed 16 out of the last 22 games. So that's a little concerning for a guy that's been the consensus number 1 for the last 2 years. Keenan, you can raise your hand there.
I might have been wrong about Lamar, but I wasn't wrong about trading CMC a couple years ago.
CEH going to IR, Russell Wilson and Chris Carson on IR. Barkley, unfortunately, had a freak ankle injury, which we saw that, grapefruit on his ankle right afterwards. He's out for at least another week. Daniel Jones cleared concussion protocol. Kenny Golladay is going to be out, but Sterling Shepard's coming back. Dalvin Cook was back at practice. Julio's practicing. Tyreek Hill should be okay. It sounds like from the words of Andy Reid. Terry McLaurin didn't practice. Keep your eyes out for him. DK Metcalf has his foot injury. A couple more here. Curtis Samuel is going to be out for Sunday, so hopefully they aren't missing McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Surprise Nick Chubb with his calf injury.
I'm not surprised.
Really? I felt like he wasn't going to practice, Wednesday's normal Veterans Day, Tuesday refresh, whatever. But they listed him out on, was it Thursday, right?
Yeah, bad weather. You don't want to injure him, injure the injury more. So
that's true. But Kareem's got a wrist and knee injury, so he's questionable. So Demetric Felton might be the next man up. We'll talk about him in a moment. Joe Mixon's good to go. Tua got activated off IR, so he'll be starting. Sammy Watkins is going to be out for the game, but they did activate Rashad Bateman off IR, that rookie sensation. So we just went through a bunch here, guys. What stands out to you, Eric?
I mean, Nick Chubb not playing is really a killer for me. I don't know. I thought he was going to be good to go, but that sucks. I'm going to be honest though. Not expecting a huge game from Kareem Hunt because we saw it last year when Nick Chubb got hurt. We all thought Kareem Hunt was going to be the number 1 running back, and he wasn't. So, I don't know. What do you guys think on that? What do you think about Kareem Hunt?
I think he's going to play because Nick Chubb sat. Like Keenan mentioned, you don't want to hurt Nick Chubb, but you also are at a game that you want to win. You're playing against an undefeated team that's traveling from the, I think, current West Coast time zone. So yeah, it's definitely a game you're going to want to win, and you're going to want Kareem to play.
I wouldn't be shocked if DK is ruled out too. Okay.
That's what's concerning me because you got Wilson going down, Carson going down. So you're like, I know it's Geno Smith, but he's been there for a couple of years, knows the system. So all right, maybe Metcalf and Lockett will eat, and now Metcalf might not play. Just keep an eye on that.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be shocked if Seattle came out that he was out for Sunday. With Wilson and Carson out and another bad weather game there in Pittsburgh. So,
yeah, Seattle traveling to Pittsburgh, that tough defense. So, you have Alex Collins there. Before we do talk about these backup running backs we keep mentioning, Rashad Bateman, guys. So you've been probably able to hold him on your IR the whole season if you've had him. If you don't have him, if he's go pick him up, please. Eric, I know you really liked him coming into the season. So is Rashad Bateman somebody you're going to start this
Breaking
week?
news. What
did we miss?
The Panthers placed Christian McCaffrey on IR, meaning he'll miss at least 3 more games with a hamstring injury.
That's painful. That's very painful. So the Panthers, well, I guess, obviously, like I said, Chuba Hubbard is a must start. So it's been unfortunate that you've already been dealing with Christian McCaffrey. If you had number one pick between him and Cook, really, and you maybe had to pick him. They don't have their bye week till week 13, which is unfortunate. Man,
Yeah.
all right.
It's going to be a year-long thing again?
What's that?
Is this going to be a year-long thing again like last year?
Yeah, I think it is. Hammies aren't a joke.
I mean, they're gonna do whatever they can to keep him healthy. If they're looking like they're gonna be making playoffs, which they are at this point.
Yeah.
You got to get DJ more involved, though. I mean, he's getting a lot of yards and catches, but you have to get him more touchdowns. I know he's doing better on a career standpoint for touchdowns, but they've lost their last two.
Yeah. Darnold didn't look great last game either.
He did not. And they got a struggling Panthers team coming in this week. They traded for CJ Henderson. So what are they going to do against Thielen and Jefferson this week? That's going to be big.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Bateman, though, Eric. Do you think is Bateman somebody you're going to start this week if he comes in? The defensive coordinator for the Ravens said offense coordinator. Sorry, they said they're going to slowly ease him into the offense. So does that mean some time for you? What are you taking that as?
I would not start him. No, I mean, I know you mentioned I was high on him, but I don't think I was. I was actually surprised because I saw in startups he was going in like the 5th round, and that was actually way too high for me. But no, I mean, look at what Hollywood's doing, what Mark Andrews just did. They're both looking like what Hollywood's looking what we all thought he could be. Mark Andrews is looking what he did in 2019. There's not going to be enough to go around, especially for a wide receiver coming off an injury that's easing in.
I'm more worried about Hollywood losing receptions or targets than Bateman being an impact in fantasy.
So that was actually the underlying question we would be looking into, because you've got Hollywood sitting right now as wide receiver 6. So, yeah, Keenan, with Sammy Watkins is going to be out, so Bateman coming in, yeah, Hollywood might have a good week, but when Watkins is going to be back, Mark Andrews is tight end 2. Yeah. Is there enough to go around?
I mean, there probably isn't Lamar at quarterback, because Lamar is going to take off and run when he needs to. And the thing is, you got to give credit to their offensive coordinator. He has, I think, stopped calling as many design runs for Lamar and just having him go pocket, run around, and try to make a play. If not, he'll run and make a play with his feet. So why you don't need to call design runs anymore for Lamar? Let him try to create out of as a quarterback, and if it's not there, he'll take off like he did on Monday Night Football. So I could see them throwing the ball 30 plus times. So is there enough targets? If they throw it 30 plus times, yeah, I think there is. But at the end, I think Hollywood suffers with a healthy Baltimore wide receiving core and healthy Mark Andrews. I think Hollywood suffers the most. One other thing, I think the football gods actually, gave the Ravens a favor by having all those running back injuries in training camp, where they because they don't have really that much talent in the running back room right now because of Dobbins and who's the other running back that got hurt?
Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards,
yeah. So the football gods kind of gave them a favor by forcing Baltimore to throw the ball more, and that's why Lamar Jackson has looked better, where they don't have to give Dobbins the ball 10 times, they don't have to give Edwards the ball 10 times, and they're not designing as many runs for Lamar.
Yeah, and his touchdown rate is almost half what it usually not usually is. I mean, he had over 9%, which is insane, and he had 7% last year, but he's at 4.8, which is above average this year. But as good as his passing's gotten, the touchdowns aren't going crazy. But Hollywood has 5 of those 8. You're right. So it is going to be tough. He is throwing the ball just over 32 times a game, which at the moment would put him on pace for a career high. Obviously, regardless of that 17 games, even if it was 16, it would be. So that's at least good to see. All right, let's move on here, guys, to those backup running backs. We did talk a bit about them, but like I mentioned, we got a lot of injuries. CEH is out. David Montgomery was out, and now you had Damian Williams, and then he got COVID for Chicago. Alex Collins is going to back up Chris Carson for a few weeks. We just found out Barkley CMC is going to be out for a few weeks. So you have Chuba Hubbard going in. Devontae Booker is going to be backing up Barkley. And whomever wants to play for Kansas or Cleveland, you're going to be wanting to figure out who's going to play with Kareem Hunt or if they're going to be starting. So let's just go through those guys. Darrell Williams, Khalil Herbert, Alex Collins, Devontae Booker, and we'll go Demetric Felton for Cleveland. Keenan, can you rank those guys for you or for us, top 5 out of the 5 here? Who do you want first?
It's tough. I don't want Darrell Williams. You just don't know with Kansas City how they're going to use him as a backup there. I'll take Devontae Booker one. I think he showed a lot last week. I think he had 19 carries. I forgot what it was. I think he showed a lot, and I'm surprised that he wasn't picked up in waivers this past week. I think in our big WWE league, guys, I picked him up for free after Antonio over here decided to outbid me for Darrell Williams at $3 bad dollars. But Devontae Booker for me at number 1.
Surprising, Eric. How about who would you take second, Keenan?
I mean, you got to take Darrell Williams then. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. Herbert, I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough because I think Fulton doesn't really make an impact. I think Hunt plays, so you could put him at 5, Booker at 1, Collins at 3, Herbert at 2, Booker 1, Williams at 2, Collins at 3, Herbert at 4, and Fulton at 5.
Eric, do you feel similar to
that? So I think Alex Collins is in line for the biggest workload, most likely. I mean, unless Seattle really decides to give DJ Dallas more touches, which they haven't really shown they want to do. Although I'm very excited for Khalil Herbert. I actually grabbed him in a few dynasty leagues to just throw him on my taxi squad. So he's somebody that we haven't seen before. Obviously Felton too, but like we know what Darrell Williams is going to do. He's probably, he might be good for maybe 10 points if they give him enough work, but how much are they going to really give him? And they're going to split work between running backs regardless of who else it is.
I know. I'm kind of worried about Jerick McKinnon there too. Let's not forget about him too. In Kansas City.
But in my opinion, I mean, I'm picking up Khalil Herbert just because, I mean, why? Like, he could pop off and be great. He's a rookie. He doesn't have the draft capital, but we're talking about Chris Carson, who's out on this list, his backup. I mean, Chris Carson was a 5th-round pick. He could be good. We don't know what he's going to do. So just for that factor, Booker, he's going to have a workload, but he's not going to do anything great.
Speak for yourself. He did a great job last week.
Yeah, but I mean,
19 touches and 2 touchdowns. That was surprising. But
he's been given the work before when Barkley was out, and what did he do for multiple games?
Wasn't that he's in Atlanta now?
Oh yeah, well yeah, they did.
Mike Davis was Panthers.
No, not Mike Davis.
D'Angelo. Didn't they have D'Angelo Williams for a little bit?
No.
Oh. Well, you could figure that part out. I'm going to talk about my top addition. I do agree with Eric. I think it's Alex Collins because of that workload you're going to have, even with Geno Smith. Wayne Gallman, there you go. So even with that being said, right after Alex Collins for me is going to be Khalil Herbert. David Montgomery's out for a little bit. Damian Williams, they wanted him. I get it, but it doesn't mean they're going to utilize him. They gave him 19 touches and they gave Khalil Herbert 18 touches. So I'm really excited to see how Herbert does this week against the Bengals, where they're going to want to control the ball this week. Why am I blanking on the Bears? I apologize, guys. The Packers, sorry. Yeah, so they're going to be wanting to try to control and keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. So that's why Khalil Herbert might get utilized nearly 20-plus times. They used him in the pass game, too. Next will be Darrell Williams because he's going to be in that offense. And then Devontae Booker, because Devontae Booker might be a one-week play. I understand Barkley keeps getting injured, but you can't sit here and rely and hope that that's going to keep happening. And yeah, Keenan, Demetric Felton, he'll be a 1 week wonder if it even is this week. He'll probably get some playing time because Kareem Hunt's a little injured. Okay, so while we just talked about all these guys, who are you starting this week, Keenan? Like, are any of these guys a surefire start for you? Like, let me ask you: would you rather have?
It's either Booker or Collins, just because of the workload. You got to go with them.
So DeAndre Swift or Devontae Booker?
Swift.
Okay.
Swift.
Okay, how about this? Zach Moss or Devontae Booker?
See, I think Devontae Booker is like a high-end RB2 this week. That's why I have him getting – I have a feeling he's going to get a lot of touches as well. So that's why I would him over Moss for sure. I know they're playing the Rams. I get it. But, Jones is back. They're going to I think Shepard's going to get shut down, so Tony's going to get a lot of work, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so what about Joe Mixon or –
You got to start your star running backs over these guys.
But Joe Mixon's injured. And again, they're playing the Packers. Are you concerned about? I mean, I said they're going to give him a full workload. He's playing. They're going to give him a full workload. But all right, Chase Edmonds, or Devontae Booker.
Who are the Cardinals playing?
Honestly, no Kingsbury. The bad weather. I mean, with bad weather, you'd think they'd run more, but
I go Booker.
Probably Booker.
Same game, Kareem Hunt or Devontae Booker.
Hunt.
What about Josh Jacobs? The Raiders against the Broncos, or Khalil Herbert?
I go Jacobs.
You have to go Jacobs there.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
All five of these guys that we're talking about right now, it's a coin flip. It really is. If you hit on one for 1 week, doesn't mean they're gonna hit on next week.
Yeah, it's just those touches that you like. It's if you can get 15 plus touches, that's why it's tough to say no to that player. Okay. All right. So we did talk about those guys a little bit. Let's talk about then let's go over a few streamers. Let's give a couple guys that we can kind of fill in. We're still talking about the bye weeks. We're talking about some backups right now. I talked about Khalil Herbert a bit. He's a big streamer for me. Another one for me is Kadarius Toney. I was just talking about the Giants, and they are playing against the Rams, so I think Ramsey's probably going to shadow Shepard, or he might play all over the field, and that might see him on Toney in the slot because he does tend to do that because Galladay is going to be out. So with Jones coming back, I have a feeling that Kadarius Toney is going to continue to keep getting targets. The guy's amazing. I believe he is the first player to have he's the first rookie to have at least 10 catches and 185 yards since Anquan Boldin in 2003. So, he's in some elite company. He's doing some serious things. I get that he got all the targets last week, but he knows how to utilize that football. So he's a big streamer for me. He's only 62% Yahoo still owned. I was kind of really surprised at that. What about you, Eric? Do you got a couple of streamers for this week?
Yeah. My first one was Nelson Aguilar. Let me double check here.
Yeah, Patriots playing the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, they were playing the Cowboys. If they want to keep up with them, they're going to be tossing the ball up, and other than Jacoby Myers, maybe the tight ends get a little work, but Nelson Aguilar is just somebody that with how bleak the waiver wire is, he's somebody that could pop off and get a touchdown for you. And then my other one, let me pull it up here, was Dan Arnold with the Jaguars. If you need a tight end, hasn't done anything crazy yet. He got 10 points last week, but he's building up a connection with Trevor Lawrence. He's like 26 years old. He's a perfect age for a breakout for a tight end, and if he does build up that connection, the team extends his contract, and they keep him. He could be somebody for both dynasty and redraft. He's somebody, stream now and, just in dynasty leagues. Like, what would you trade for him? Would you think like a 3rd round pick could get him? And if you needed like in a dynasty league,
Arnold?
Would you trade that? Do you think he's somebody you would target?
I think if you've got him, if somebody has him right now, they clearly weren't using him as a starter. So he's got to be their backup tight end. So there is probably someone that could say, hey, if I got, George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Hawkinson, for example, I'd take a third for him. But you're right. They love him. And he was second in targets, I believe, last week. And Chark's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's somebody, stream him. And if you do have somebody like Kittle that's out a little bit longer, he's somebody you potentially could use for a couple of weeks and, see what happens.
What about you, Keenan? You got anybody for us?
Yeah. First one is Evan Ingram. You pretty much said it with Antonio. You pretty much said it with Tony there. A lot of injuries there for the Giants. Galladay's out. But I think Ingram's going to have a pretty big game, especially with Rams shadowing either Tony or who's the other wide receiver you were talking about? Shepard, yeah. And my other one, the only reason I picked this guy as my other streamer was because I am actually streaming him this week is two of them actually, Jerick McKinnon and Nyheim Hines. Boomer bust guys. They can, both can get 5 to 10 targets, maybe even a touchdown. Himes is honestly a boomer bust his whole career. He either get you 20 points or he get you 2 points. So those are my two guys. Unfortunately, in our big league, I lost Barkley and I lost CMC, or not CMC, Hilaire. And it's tough trade market this year. I've texted everyone in the whole league. I texted everyone seeing if they want to trade a running back. I had an offer in place for someone searching running back, Damian Harris. They backed out because they don't have any depth at the running back position. I don't blame them. I offered Sutton in the deal, and it's tough to make trades now because how slim that running back position is, and so that's why I picked. What's that?
Sorry to interrupt you there. I was going to say I went in 2 leagues. I had McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And when I drafted McCaffrey, I went pretty heavy at wide receiver the next couple rounds and thought I could fill the wide running back 2 gaps. But now that he's injured and some of those elite guys aren't doing well, you're right. I'm trying to get running backs and I'm offering elite wide receivers and I'm not getting them. I'm not getting the deals done. And it's amazing to me. You're right. You can't get a running back for anything.
Yeah,
but that just goes to show why you got to spend the money on these backups because, you might be buying Devontae Booker for 1 week, but you're buying a win. That's the point. Yeah. It's week 6 right now. And if you're staring at 2 and 3, if you're staring at 1 and 4, you are buying a win.
I can't believe no one put $1 up for Booker in our big league.
I'll be honest. It slipped my mind, to be honest with you.
I woke up the next morning because I was so mad because you outbid me $3 for friggin' Williams and I saw Booker there. I'm like, oh my god, free! Thank you.
Scooped him right got to be quicker, man. Got to be quicker. Well, I was mad I didn't get Khalil Herbert either, but I think
$12 too.
Yeah, excuse me, and I went for Tony. He went for $15. I also bid $15, so I was kind of mad because the other person got him because of the tiebreaker. Yeah, man. So, okay. I wanted to break off for 1 second, just talk about Twitter, talk about YouTube, talk about where you can find us. You can find me at Antonio Denisi FF. You can find Eric at Big E_FF. You can also find Keenan at Keenan_716. You can find the podcast account at Dynasty Mafia_FF. And the website, dynastymafiapodcast.network. Always under construction. And you could follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Let you know every time that we are on. You could find that at youtube.com/Dynasty Mafia Podcast. Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to get into our Fab 5 in a moment, but I want to talk about some not a moment, a little bit. I want to talk about some matchups, but that Fab 5, we're going to go over all the positions, top 5 players. So that'll be a little fun. See what we believe and don't believe. Matchups, guys. There is some really good matchups this week, but then there's some really bad matchups this week. So I know we were kind of going through a few, and I was just talking about A.J. Brown. I was talking about elite wide receivers, and Buffalo was playing against Tennessee this week. I got AJ Brown in a good amount of leagues, but I also, drafted him with Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf. Then I would have grabbed Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. I've got really good wide receivers. So that's why I'm telling myself I'm sitting AJ Brown this week. I'm starting 3 wide receivers. None of them are AJ Brown in a couple leagues. I want to hear you guys tell me what you think about that. And like I said, those 3, and just to mix those wide receivers, it's Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and DK Metcalf. So 4 of those wide receivers are in my couple leagues that are starting over AJ Brown. Do you disagree with any of that? Because I know some people are running into that same tough decision right now, especially if you hit later on a Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett.
With that Bills defense, I don't blame you for sitting him. And he's just coming off an injury. Tannehill hasn't looked great in that pass game. Their offense revolves still around one guy, Derrick Henry. He leads that team in all-purpose yards. I think I saw a stat he might lead the league in all-purpose yards. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't blame you. What has AJ Brown done for you lately, Antonio?
Yeah, what can Brown do for you? Lately, nothing much. That's for sure. And I hate that because at any given week, he's one of the biggest deep threats in the league. Tannehill's just not looking like Tannehill.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've seen Tannehill hit his ceiling. And I mean, for years we've seen him play against the Bills when he was in Miami. We're like, this guy isn't anything special. And then he went to Tennessee, and they made him look okay. I guess he got that big contract, but how many games is Tannehill honestly gonna win you?
I wonder how much of this was Arthur Smith. Left to go to Atlanta. It's just been interesting. Julio's been banged up, but he'll be playing. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't trust AJ Brown.
I'm sitting Lockett this week. I'm sitting Lockett for Darrell Williams this week because Geno Smith.
You're that worried?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm that worried. It's Geno coming from the West Coast to the East Coast to play in a crappy weather game. Pittsburgh's defense is no joke. It sucks. You got to make these tough decisions sometimes where Lockett can put up 20, 25 points, as Big E would know. But sometimes you just got to make the decision like that.
Yeah, I thought Geno looked good. He did throw that touchdown to DK Metcalf, which people were saying was a beautiful throw. Personally, I thought it was underthrown. But hopefully he can move the ball. But yeah, if DK doesn't play, Tyler Lockett can get all the attention.
My thing is the defense didn't know Geno Smith was going to play that game. They prepared for Russell Wilson. And
you're very right.
Now Pittsburgh had a whole week to prepare for Geno Smith, and I'm sure they're probably happy they're playing Geno over Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and when that line is, not doing the best, and Russell Wilson can escape the pocket, Geno can't do that as well, and that's when he creates a lot of his plays. And we'll see what's going to happen with them.
And Chris Carson's out too, so that's gonna that affects Geno Smith from playing well, I guess too. So
yeah, that's true. What about Eric? What about CeeDee Lamb? He's playing against the Patriots. He's been up and down. He did get a touchdown last week. Nice touchdown, but it was a long one, so you can't really bank on those every week.
Eric's not a big CeeDee Lamb guy.
Yeah, I hate CeeDee Lamb. No, everybody knows I love Lamb. Yeah, Big E, D Lamb. No, all right, I'm done with that. But
no DVD. Come on, man.
All right. That's a trick question because I'm never going to bet against CeeDee Lamb. I'm always going to assume he's going to have a great game. And they're gonna because they're going up against, regardless of how bad the Patriots might be and look on paper, they're going up against Bill Belichick. They're gonna have to come out swinging. They're gonna have to put points up, or else they don't want to get into a defensive battle with Bill Belichick, especially with their defense. So they're gonna be slinging the ball, and CeeDee Lamb's gonna be a beneficiary of that.
All right, would you rather play CeeDee Lamb or DK?
CeeDee Lamb. Although I'm not worried. Are you worried about DK? He had a great game with Geno.
Yeah, I'm worried about
either of them. I mean, if you had both of them, you got to play them in my. I have actually both of them in a league. I had playing both of them.
Yeah, it's tough to sit them, but I think you have to be concerned for DK the most about the long ball. Like, he's not going to probably get you a 6-yard touchdown that comes off a bomb from Wilson because Geno can't do that. Now, he hasn't really done that much this year since the first couple weeks, but Tyler Lockett's also hasn't done too well. So, but he's more of that underneath player. What about Mike Evans or CeeDee Lamb?
Like Mike Evans played already.
I know that was a trick question. I was seeing what your guys' answer was going to be. Okay, so what about?
Well, Mike Evans got 4 fantasy points. I will take my chances with Lamb all day now.
Are you worried about Mike Evans? Or he's got 2 games of 2 touchdowns, so he kind of did this last year. But he does have a couple 100-yard games already. But he's getting the attention with Antonio Brown.
You know what I'm worried about if I'm an Evans fantasy holder? That Antonio Brown and Tom Brady connection is something. It really is something. It makes I kick myself every day that I pass on Antonio Brown and drafted someone that I probably dropped already. That's how low Antonio Brown was going in drafts, and that's the scary part about it. I think Antonio Brown is going to be the number 1 wide receiver there.
I think, though, if you rewind this, of course, hindsight, you could say that, but I think the smart decision was always Antonio Brown third because Godwin is still younger and better. Evans is still a red zone threat, and Brown can be unhinged. I agree with you. I regret not getting him either. I have him in like 1 dynasty league, so that's the only share I really have of him. Yeah. But it's just, I understand why people didn't, especially if you drafted Lamb or Godwin or Evans earlier. You're not going to draft Brown unless you're, Wayne Bloom, who he's first in our one league right now. He's good. He's having a really good year in general, but he's first in one league. I was just looking at this.
I'm first in that league too.
He is starting a total of 4 NFL teams on 8 spots.
Is this the league where we
co-manage? First? No, but he's got he's starting Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders, and he's starting Evans and Antonio Brown, and he's got Tom Brady.
What league?
It's WWE, I think. But I don't. He's like leading the league in points too. It's just hilarious because people were so worried about drafting certain wide receivers or drafting the same wide receivers in the same team because you have so many sets of them now.
I'll catch up to him.
I gotta say
I think it will too.
Yeah, okay.
You should go if you think you're going to be in this is for dynasty leagues. If you think you're going to be a contender for the next couple of years, go buy Mike Evans because you can actually get him pretty cheap. You can probably get him for a future first, just 1. I mean, I would imagine you could make that happen. And everyone's worried about the future, but Mike Evans is the only wide receiver under contract past this season. And Kyle Trask is learning under Tom Brady. And if Tom Brady does retire, that means AB's gone. He's not coming back. Unless they re-sign Godwin, which maybe they do. Even if they do, AB's gone, Gronk is gone. I mean, Mike Evans is going to be – he's only 27 years old, I believe, 28 maybe. I mean, he's going to be very good for another 2 to 3 years. And if you're a contender for the next couple of years and you can get him for, a cheap price like that, I think that's the move right there.
I'll be honest. Before this year, I was, like everybody else. Oh, Tom Brady's got this year left, maybe 2 more years. I really think he's playing.
Dude's not playing until he's 50.
He may not play until he's 50, but I was watching Good Morning Football, and they made a good point. George Blanda, I believe, was the oldest person ever playing in the game. He was 48. They said they think Brady's trying to go for that record.
Let's go. Okay, fine.
That's the record.
Say he does, right? So they re-sign Brady. They bring AB back. They bring Gronk back, sure, for cheap. Maybe Gronk retires. Do you think they will have enough to bring Godwin back too? He's on the franchise tag right now.
I don't think Godwin's staying, to be honest. I think there's a reason Godwin is third.
Yeah, if Brady stays and Godwin's gone, that in my bet, even better for Mike Evans.
I certainly agree with your argument. I'd certainly be buying some Mike Evans. I'd buy Chris Godwin anyway. He's going to go somewhere. If he'll stay in Tampa Bay, it's still powerful offense.
He'll go to the Bills.
Chris Godwin to the Jets. I'm thinking.
The Bills.
All right, we'll see. We'll review this one a little later. Let's also talk, though. I want to talk about Robert Woods, guys, because he had a little resurgence.
My man went off.
He did go off.
He went off.
He went very off. Had 10 catches for 125 yards. Had a lot. But what are you feeling about Robert Woods now, guys? Would you rather play Robert Woods this week, or would you rather play Cortland Sutton against Vegas?
You got to play Woods, in my opinion.
Woods is at the Giants.
Yeah, you got to play Woods. Just better quarterback play, better offense.
Cortland Sutton's been playing well, though.
Yeah, he has. He has. But if I could, I'm starting both of them. But if I had to pick between them, I got to go with the better offense. Because I mean, there's a game there. Has there been a game or two where Sutton wasn't involved in the offense?
There has been a game or two. They both. Robert Woods has had a few lacks in games, and so is Sutton. Okay, so what about Allen Robinson or
what's
Robert Woods? He was upgraded limited. If that's what you want to call it, but obviously
Robert Woods still.
He worries me. A lot of people were really excited for him this year, but
he was. But like you got to understand, he does this every year. He starts off slow, and then the back half of the year, he's literally a top 5 wide receiver every year. And then even in the beginning of the year, he had. I remember week 1 I was watching. He had a touchdown called back. He had some other plays called back, and he's been getting targets. It just hasn't fallen his way, and that's what happens every year. It doesn't fall his way, and then once it does, he pops off for 150 yards. Not only that, but he was still, Matt Stafford and him, they were still figuring each other out. And I think Stafford realizes what he has now, and he's going to make it, a little bit more balanced, and it's going to make that offense even more dangerous.
There was a report that Robert Woods went to his coach and said he wants to get the ball more.
Yeah.
So
and he got the ball more.
Was he not in the game plan the first 4 weeks?
I don't know. Are you worried about Cooper Kupp because of that?
I'm worried about Cooper Kupp being
Coop's number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah. I'm worried about that, but I'm not worried about Cooper Kupp being a wide receiver top 10. Look,
that's quite a drop off.
I'm talking about overall wide receiver 1, which he has been in the first week. He's not going to be overall wide receiver 1, so I can see him still being in the top 10.
I'm not.
Do you think he'll be in the top 5?
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't worry. Think about it. Even if the offense does balance out, that means defenses are going to start balancing out as well, and that this might open things up a little bit more for Cooper Kupp and just keep him up there and make him continue doing what he's doing. And Stafford obviously loves him more than anybody else on that team, so that connection's not going away.
Well, we're talking about and we're talking about top 5. So let's move into the Fab 5. All right. So this is based off Fantasy Pros, 1 quarterback, 4 points per touchdown, -1 for an interception, and it's PPR. So I took the top 5 players so far for each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And let's just I just want to talk about them. I want to see who's for real, who's not. What are we believing in? And do we think this is going to be true for the rest of the season? So the quarterbacks, because each spot too, which has been interesting, each position has somebody drafted later than round 10. So, you're finding some of them have more. So the top 10 this year has been great. The top 5 has been even more surprising. So the quarterbacks we'll start with. We don't need to talk too much. We talked about them a lot. I just want a question out of that. But right now it's Patrick Mahomes 1, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then Justin Herbert. Tom Brady and Justin Herbert drafted quarterback 8 or later. Herbert was going in double digits in some drafts that I was in. So we expected Mahomes to be 1, Allen in there, Lamar in there. Between Tom Brady and Justin Herbert, who would you rather have the rest of the season, guys? Herbert's killing it. He's showing everybody that he's for real. Brady's got, 3 games so far with at least 4 touchdowns. He had his first 400-yard and 5-touchdown game last week. We obviously saw him cool off against Philly.
That's really tough.
It's tough.
I would probably you go, Keenan.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I want to take Herbert. My heart wants to take Herbert. My brain tells me Tom Brady.
I'm going to say Brady. I think in the end, Brady's just going to have more touchdowns. And I don't know. Like I said, I think he's going to retire this year. But I even said a couple weeks.
Oh, you're
ago,
crazy.
He looks like he's 30 years old again.
He's not retiring.
He's not retiring. I don't know.
He is not retiring after this year.
Yeah. I'll go Brady.
Yes, but that's fair.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
No, can't go wrong. Okay, so Quarterback's not too crazy. But running backs.
Take Cordell Patterson out right now.
Running backs, your
Take him
top
out.
5. Derrick
Take him out.
Henry, Austin Eckler, Cordarrelle Patterson, Najee Harris, and Ezekiel Elliott.
Look at my man Zeke.
You probably could have expected maybe 3 out of the 5 to be there, right? But you got Cordarrelle Patterson and Najee. Najee's killing it for the rookies. He's getting a lot of catches. He's getting a lot of touches on the ground. Keenan, Cordarrelle Patterson, what's your issue, man? What's your issue? He's designated as a running back in a good amount of leagues. Atlanta's using him as such.
I don't
he's
have
doing
an
really
issue.
well, though.
Yeah, he's doing really well. I think it's going to catch up eventually, and I don't think he's going to be a top 5. The question is who I think is not going to be a top 5 out of the 5 guys that we just named.
Mm-hmm.
He's my number 1 on there. That's not going to be the top 5.
So he's got at least 16 points in the last 4 games, had over 23 in one, over 34 in another. It's tough, dude. I don't know. He's got at least 12 touches in every game, 11 touches, excuse me. And he's scoring.
Who have you taken out of the top 5?
I don't think I believe Austin Eckler.
Oh my God! Not this crap again.
It's not that I don't. I just I believe in Austin Eckler. I do. He's already far and away. I mean, he's doing great with Derrick Henry, so he's going to keep getting the catches. So I don't know what my deal is with him. I don't believe in Cordarrelle Patterson. No, I don't believe he's going to finish top 5.
Okay.
But you know who I'll honestly go with? I'm going to go with Zeke. Zeke's my guy that's not going to finish top 5 because I think the offense is not going to continue to run the ball the whole season because they're going to realize that's not going to help them continue to win the games.
No, they got to run the ball. They got to run the ball.
They have to run the ball, but you've seen Tony Pollard getting involved more. And what's really helping Zeke right now is that he's scoring touchdowns again because that's the biggest thing for him because the touches, I mean, he's been getting a lot of touches, but he had scored now in 4 straight weeks, and he's got 6 touchdowns total. So that's great. If that continues, that's awesome. He only had 3 last year, which made him become an issue. But I have a really tough time seeing them not throwing that ball as much as they have in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Eric?
I mean, obviously take Patterson out. And I'm going to have to agree with Zeke just because the split with Pollard. I'm playing Pollard in a league. It's only a start 1 running back league. But and I had Chubb, who obviously went down, but I'm thinking Pollard might actually do a little something because especially if they're going to start throwing more, you know, they like to use Pollard in the passing game too. So I don't know. Whatever they got going on, I mean, I think they're planning to, you know, move on from Zeke after this season and get Pollard in there. If in dynasty leagues, again, if you can get Pollard for maybe like a 2nd-round pick, I mean, that might honestly be extremely worth it in the long run. I just
have a concern that, like, if you look at their schedule, so they got New England this week, they're probably going to be able to stop Zeke that way. So I think they also have to throw. Then they have a bye week. Then you're at Minnesota, and then you got home Denver, home Atlanta. Out of those games, I'm hoping Zeke does well against Atlanta, but I could see Dallas having to win the ball through the air in those. Then you got Kansas City and Vegas. It sounds like shootouts. I don't know. That's the only thing that's concerning me with Zeke. I love Zeke. I was talking about him doing well this year. Top 10 is going to happen. I don't know about top 5 continuing. So if you could trade him for Jonathan Taylor plus, DeAndre Swift plus, let's say you can get like DeAndre Swift and Robert Woods. Would that be a Zeke trade? Maybe you think you could do? Okay. Enough about the run. Oh, one question. Derrick Henry right now. People were really concerned he wasn't going to be able to do 2,000 yards again. He's on pace to do it again, guys. I get it. 17 games.
You know why they were concerned? You know why they were concerned?
Tell me.
Because they don't listen to Big E. I told you all. Big E. 2K, 20 TDs. Let's go. It's happening. I didn't say 20. I think I said maybe like.
At least 15. Yeah.
But 2K.
Hey, that's okay.
It's happening.
Let's see. Yeah, right now.
I told everyone was saying Alvin Kamara,
7.
Derrick Henry. I said take Derrick Henry. Take Derrick Henry.
He's on pace for over 20 rushing touchdowns.
I almost took him over Delvin Cook in the league. I feel dumb for not doing it, but I mean,
he's consistent. Death taxes and Derrick Henry. Yeah. All right, wide receivers, guys.
I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you the same thing I told you about CMC. We have him in dynasty. If you have Derrick Henry in dynasty this year, trade him. You won't be able to trade him for anything more higher
Every other person feels the same way, though, don't you think? Don't you think there's no person that's going to get the value for how great he's doing, and they're going to pay for him thinking this is his last time doing it?
If you say
that's why he's not being traded, is because nobody wants to pay the price that the Derrick Henry owner. Like,
Right.
I have Derrick Henry. The most I was willing to, I offered Derrick Henry in a second for DK Metcalf in a league, and I was told no. I'm like, why?
Hold on, what was the trade?
Derrick Henry in a second for DK Metcalf. But when you look at it, if you're looking at value-wise, DK and Henry are pretty close.
You were getting Metcalf or you were getting Derrick Henry?
I was trying to get Metcalf.
Oh, that's
Well-
it. Was that with Schmitty?
No.
No.
But
I was gonna say good luck.
Let's talk about
You could offer him 21st.
oh yeah, no.
Let's talk about those elite wide receivers, guys. That top 5, and then we'll get to the tight end and we'll wrap it up. Cooper Kupp at number 1. We talked about him a bit. I think he'll be consistent. I think he'll be a top 5 because that's what I had said before the season. He'll be top 10, so I got to keep that going. Mike Williams, number 2.
Finally,
My goodness, the truthers. He's killing it, guys.
You're the only truther left. I'll tell you.
Like I tweeted out a few weeks
look
ago,
around,
I am
look
so
around.
glad I couldn't trade him. I have him in
around.
like 3 fantasy leagues. I could not trade him. I didn't like what I was getting offered. And I kept telling people, look, he's going to come back. Mike Williams, 2. Tyreek Hill. Well, that first season when he had 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Deebo Samuel. So Deebo hasn't stopped. Mike Williams hasn't stopped. Guys, talk real quick. Who's the top 5 player that's not going to be top 5 anymore, and who's your most surprising one?
Deebo.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, out of those top 5, I'd say Deebo, and the next one would have to be Mike Williams. I mean, he's the only one that, out of the 3 has not put up a consistent season.
Yeah.
He showed the flashes. He's always shown the flashes. He's done, 2-3 games in a row where he's had great games, but
Yeah.
he has not looked like this. Because even in his bad game, he should have had like a 50 or 60-yard touchdown. But
Talking about
he was
Deebo or
Mike Williams. Mike Williams.
Yeah.
Mike Williams. He, both of them have shown flashes in the past. I mean, but
I think
don't know.
with Deebo, that offense has not clicked yet. We had a little discussion this past week in our group chat. They haven't clicked that. Brandon Ayuk isn't being used. Kittle's on IR. Once the season progresses, once they figure out who their quarterback is, I think that offense clicks more, and Ayuk gets more touches. And I think obviously Kittle's going to get more. Is going to get his once he comes off IR. So there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed there, and I think eventually that's going to hurt Deebo. So that's why he's out of my top 5.
Yeah, and I was a big Ayuk fan too coming in the season, and I know a lot of people were.
I friggin' traded Carter and friggin' Chenault for Ayuk to Antonio.
But then not only that, once they get this run game, I mean, they got to get imagine them having a big name running back. Like, just wait until they do.
They do, but they don't use them.
They're getting there. I think he needed to get some more into the offense because and Trey Sermon we're talking about.
His first touch was in the 4th quarter in the last game.
I understand it's not going to happen right away.
He
does. I think what they want to do is establish. I think they wanted to establish the offense, and they had Garoppolo coming back, and they wanted to keep using their players they could, and then eventually get Trey Lance in. That's going to cause them to help use Sermon too. Well, that's my thought because Trey Lance would be more shotgun.
Mitchell was out, right?
Yep.
Who the hell was getting the ball if he wasn't getting it?
Trey Sermon is having trouble understanding the offense.
Yeah,
it's a complex scheme.
So
you better start studying. So I agree with you guys on Deebo being the most surprising and that he is going to be the one to fall out. I told you guys I traded. I had this other team in one of my Superflex leagues. They put out there, hey, our whole team's for sale. We're looking for picks next year, young players. Give it out. So I looked at my roster and I'm like, you know what? I could use a wide receiver. I have Deebo. I want to upgrade. I sent out Deebo for my 22 first. I'm currently in first place at 4-1. That got accepted. Oh, for Calvin Ridley, sorry. So Deebo on a 22 first for Calvin Ridley, accepted immediately. I was shocked. And I sent it to you guys, and I was like, am I wrong? Am I missing something? And you both agreed with me, Ridley. So I was really surprised that, they are only 1 year apart in age.
Well, here's the thing. I think us 3 are on – we might be the only ones left on the Ridley bandwagon.
Oh, get out of here. There's
I swear. There might be a couple other people, but I don't think I don't think Ridley is getting the respect that he was getting maybe 6 months ago.
100%. 100% agree with that.
Because it's more. It's like I said earlier. It's what have you done for me lately? And a couple games go by where you're going to put a goose egg, not just him, that whole offense, besides Cordell Patterson or whatever the hell his name is, has not produced. I mean, your boy Pitts finally got his first touchdown last game.
Heck yeah.
So I'm not shocked that trade got accepted because I think they're sitting in their seat and they think, wow, we got ourselves a top 5 wide receiver and a first round pick for a wide receiver that hasn't done jack.
Yeah, and that's my hope is that's what someone's thinking. And then redraft, same concept. Get him if you need to. The bye week is this week, guys. So you got 10 more weeks of Calvin Ridley. You don't have to worry about a bye week, nothing like that. And the other thing too, and I just started doing this research.
One more thing before we go on. The only thing I'm worried about with Ridley is the quarterback situation. That's the only thing moving forward.
That's what I was just about to say to you. I just started doing research on we talked about this last year with Matt Ryan's leap year, and I'll be quick. I just started doing research on his first 8 games with his new coordinator in the first season. So I'm hoping to have more next week on that to see how he's done. Because just like any other offenses that switch over, guys, schemes change, offenses change. People need time to adapt. I think that's what's happening here. That's what I really do. Because I've been watching those Atlanta games, guys. You know, I love Ridley and Pitts. So it's just it is a mess. And Arthur Smith, we're seeing Tennessee not do so well. You got to think it's Arthur Smith that had to help that. So I think that's just a big issue right now. The offensive line and just they all need to get connected.
If you guys didn't know, Antonio is a season ticket holder to the Atlanta Falcons.
$3 hot dogs, baby. Gotta love Arthur Blank.
Whatever.
Mike Williams, before we move on real quick, guys. Yeah, at least 4 games out of the 5 with 22 points. They talked about him being the X. They talked about things being different and moving him. He's got at least 10 targets, 9 targets in 4 out of his 5. I love him. I regret not getting him. Buy him some more because there's people that don't believe in him. All right. Tight ends, guys. Tight ends, and then we will wrap this bad boy up. The top 2, you expect the top 2. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. Man, if you would have told me these next 2, though, I don't even think I'd still think I'd take 1,000-to-1 odds against this. That the next 2 tight ends would be Dawson Knox and Dalton Schultz. Dawson and Dalton.
I had no idea Schultz was 4th, by the way, until I looked at our doc.
And Darren Waller is number 5 right now. So you expected Kelce, Andrews, Waller, but yeah, Dawson Knox and Dalton Schultz, literally undrafted.
I just picked up Dawson Knox in our One Dynasty league for $1.
We are Bills fans, and we've done nothing but crap on Dawson Knox the last 2 years in this podcast. So any listeners will know that. New listeners, welcome. We love Dawson Knox now. And we're here to tell you Dawson Knox is here to stay. There's a reason the Bills didn't trade for Ertz in the offseason with the rumors. There's a reason they didn't get him yesterday as he was just traded to Arizona.
I think he's better than him.
2 off seasons ago, I said he was the next George Kittle. But then last year, I really crapped on him a lot.
Well, he just dropped the ball. It's the big thing is he didn't make a lot of catches. And if he made those catches last year, people would be singing a different tune. Well,
the thing
he
got better at run blocking too.
And
that's why he's on the field more, and Beasley's not getting. I think he's on the field for 29 snaps this past week against the Chiefs. Beasley, that is, and that's why the Bills are able to run this offense is with Dawson Knox out there, is because he can obviously run block better than Beasley, and now he's developed into this tight end that could catch 40, 50-yard touchdown passes. So that's why he's on the field more, and that's why he's the 3rd leading fantasy tight end.
So there's a lot of the first thing people have to remember is in college he was a great route runner at Ole Miss. The issue why he did great. The issue why he wasn't better, his people running against was DK Metcalf and AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So
didn't he not have a touchdown in?
I think you might be right. He did really well. So people are going to think he's Robert Tonyan of last year, right? So far, the guy's got 18 catches, 5 touchdowns. He doesn't get a lot of yards, but Keenan or Eric, I don't think he'll be top 5 anymore. Would you rather have Knox or Schultz the rest of the season?
I think both of them are going to slip. Actually, who's under these guys?
See, that's tough because even so Schultz was doing pretty good last year, but he got injured.
As a rookie too. Yeah,
and he was building up a little bit of chemistry with Dak. So I mean, if that continues,
and
the thing with Knox is
Dalton.
He's always been a great athlete. Literally, only problem is can he catch the ball? And if he's going to keep catching it, I don't see any reason why Josh Allen's going to look away from him because it's working. What they're doing is working. They tried to do that last year. Obviously, seeing all those drops.
I think the issue is you have to rely on the touchdowns. I'd probably try to trade him for someone like Gronk, someone like Noah Fant, Dallas Goedert, especially with Ertz gone, because he's touchdown dependent. But the people Keenan you asked right behind him, Hawkinson, Pitts, Gronkowski, who's been injured the last couple weeks, Hunter Henry, then Mike Gesicki. Would you rather have Knox over any of those guys? Would you rather have any of those guys over Knox?
Depends
or vice
on,
versa?
I don't. Hawkinson, I don't think. I think he's a better overall player, football player, tight end, I guess.
Yeah.
You can't with that offense. You got to take the more explosive offense. That's going to use the player in the right situation to get you fantasy points.
Yeah, that's true. So
you know who I'm going to say is going to fall out of the top 5? And I don't want to say it, Darren Waller, because that offense is going to go through a change now. Now that whatever happened in Las Vegas with Gruden, I think they're going to struggle. That's a tough situation there.
Yeah, he was Gruden found him. I mean,
he loved him. He loved him. Yeah,
loved him. Loved the tight end. He's leading the league in targets with tight ends by 6. Travis Kelce is next. But you're right. He's only got 2 touchdowns, and that's what's hurting him right now. And I agree. I don't know if he'll continue to get the targets, but maybe not the touchdowns. All right, so that's a Fab 5 we're wrapping up there, guys. That was pretty good. Hopefully we'll see maybe how Week 10 looks. Maybe we'll see if we can do a Week 10. So we talked about some backup running backs, over some streamers, talked about a few players. Oh, let me go over a couple of running backs, and then we will definitely cut the show out, guys, all right? So Antonio Gibson versus Carolina or Dalvin Cook, who was all hobbled at Carolina. Who would you rather play? Gibson or Cook?
I'd take Cook, but like you're playing, you have to play both.
True, but what if you've got Gibson, Cook, and you also have someone like Jonathan Taylor or DeAndre Swift?
And one of them's in your flex.
You're probably right.
Speaking of Jonathan Taylor, man, that Monday night game, he's back.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about this Monday night coming up. No, Jonathan Taylor, he did do really well. Yeah. Darrell Henderson or Darrell Williams?
Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson. It's tough.
Henderson's been great.
Like I said, it's tough with Williams until Kansas City shows us what they're going to do now.
Henderson's been very consistent, and he's getting 15, 16 points a game. He just hasn't put up a big game, which is why he's not one of those sexy picks, you know.
Moss over Williams?
Yeah, take Moss.
I take Moss too. I'm really worried that they're going to do this. They're going to do like a 2-3 running back monster, and each running back against it is going to get like 5 touches.
Yeah, and we didn't show any crazy amount in the passing game, so you hope that they're going to do that. But if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, he might get some more, maybe not. But Tyreek Hill will play. Damian Harris struggling against Dallas or Myles Gaskin at Jacksonville. Myles Gaskin had a rebirth, 10 catches, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, those 2 touchdowns saved him. But how about the week before where he had 0.3 fantasy points or something like that?
It was so aggravating when everybody, of course, benched him and he went off.
All offseason, I'm like, oh, get this guy. They're going to use him. And Flores decides to, I don't know what the hell he's doing. He makes me mad. But I'll take everything.
That's true. All right. I think that'll about wrap everything up, guys. I think great show today. Great show. Like we said, we had our top 5 reviews, some streamers, went over their RBs, over matchup previews. Make sure to tweet us any questions. And Antonio Denisi FF. You can find Eric at Big E _FF, Keenan at Keenan _716, and the pod at Dynasty Mafia _FF. Anybody got anything to wrap it up?
Eric, you didn't tell us what you're gonna dress up for Halloween.
Yeah, Eric.
So we were still deciding. I wasn't sure.
Oh, all right. Well,
that was when you left us.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
All right, guys. Well, good luck for week 6. Can't believe it's already week 6. Make sure to get your parlays in. Gotta love your parlays. Like I said, let us know if
when are we gonna do our NBA podcast? NBA starts next week. No, nothing.
Next year.
if I can find a cricket thing. I don't know. NBA podcasts. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm down.
I don't know. We don't even have people listening to the NFL podcast, so we got to see. All right, guys. We'll see you later. We'll talk to you next week. Mafia out.